Find out why I wish I was an Irish mobster here on the latest edition of the Dad's Smoking Cigars podcast. Hello. Welcome to the Dad's Smoking Cigars podcast. I am Alan Rickman. Oh, no, I'm not. I am Kyle D. Garrett, your host as always. And the Dad's Smoking Cigars podcast is sponsored by StogieLabs.com, Cigar Social Media, and Casa Cuevas Cigars, from our Casa to yours. Thanks for joining me. Now, I hope you enjoyed that little impression, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm something of a voice actor. Kind of. I'm an amateur voice actor. I haven't done much, but I enjoy doing voice work and impressions here and there. Oh man, this is gonna be a weird episode. You guys are you're gonna step into my crazy world, but I think you're gonna like it. I think you will. I really think you will. So, I am smoking right now. Currently smoking the Mi Querida Ancho Largo from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust by Steve Saka, the man, the myth, the legend. I got to see him at TPE, but only from a distance. He was walking by. I didn't get to converse with him. It would have been nice, but you know, there's always next year. I have the good fortune to be on a mailing list along with other cigar personalities, influencers. I'm looking at. I need to really practice looking at the camera, though that doesn't mean anything to you guys who are listening on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you are tuning in for the podcast. But yeah, I saw him. I was in almost the same space as Mr. Steve Saka, and he makes some damn good cigars. But no, what I was saying was I have the good fortune, along with some other personalities, influencers, and the like, being on a mailing list for Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, and twice a year, I get sent a lovely little care package. This year's care package was pretty awesome. I will post. I think this is the right side. Maybe this is the right side. I don't fucking know. This is only for YouTube people. The Spotify people, you're not going to give a shit. The podcast listener people, they're not going to give a shit. But I will try to leave my video where I did a little Dunbarton unboxing with my dad, my pop, the original Dad's Smoking Cigars. It was a lot of fun, and I got a really cool Dunbarton coffee mug, which is my favorite mug now. Which is saying something, because I have a lot of coffee mugs. I have a lot of novelty coffee mugs. Some of them crazier than the others. I have Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Green Ranger coffee mug. It's the helmet, the Green Ranger helmet that my wife got me a couple years ago for my birthday. And I have that. I have a Carnage coffee mug, which is just a big old Carnage head. If you don't know who Carnage is, other than what the word means, Carnage from the Spider-Man comics, psychotic serial killers Cletus Cassidy, bonded with alien symbiotes similar to Venom, and all kinds of havoc ensues. Carnage ensues. But yeah, I got some crazy novelty mugs. So it's interesting that the Dunbarton, I think it's just because it looks nice. It's a really nice, cool looking mug. Apparently it's handmade. and it looks nice. But kind of backtracking to Power Rangers. This stuff you didn't think you hear in a cigar podcast, but honestly, I think the theme for this episode is going to be just entertainment media and stuff like that. You hear me coming in with, voices. I want to be in entertainment. This is, I do this. I hope it's entertaining. I'd like to think you guys are. Are you not entertained? I am not entertained! Sorry. I hope you're entertained. I really do. Because I have fun doing this. I get to sit in my man cave and smoke cigars and, I have a monologue here. You guys are just listening to me talk. And I like to talk about fun stuff, cigars and life and all that kind of stuff. But entertainment definitely is the topic as of late. And kind of backtracking to Power Rangers, as I mentioned, cool fact. A lot of you know this, not all of you do, but a Power Ranger has been on this channel. Really cool guy by the name of Roger Velasco. He was in the Power Rangers in Space series, and he was the Black Space Ranger. Really cool guy. Gotten to hang out with him a couple of times, and he was interviewed on this channel back in the earlier days of Dad Smoking Cigars, when Cigar showed Tim Long, very, very long time friend of mine. We started Dad Smoking Cigars together. He now has his own channel, but we both interviewed Roger together. But that's not necessarily what I was going to discuss about Power Ranger related stuff. The big 30-year anniversary reunion episode is coming to Netflix. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the idea of, once a Ranger, always a Ranger. And if you've been to any of the conventions or watched any of the anniversary specials, if you are like me, you are someone around my age, or maybe younger, maybe older, I don't know, and you have been at some point or another a fan of Power Rangers, then if you're paying attention to the shows, maybe you introduced your kids to the shows, they have an anniversary show usually every few years or so, or every couple of years, depending, just depends. And they get a bunch of the old Power Ranger actors together and they reprise their roles, and I think some of them actually put on the costumes or the suits. Not all of them do. Sometimes they will just get people to, like, stunt actors to wear the costumes, and it's not the original actors at all. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. But I have to acknowledge first, before I'm honest, I know they can't always get them to come on the show. And they're not always interested in doing an anniversary show and becoming the character again. I know that because scheduling and life and things like that. But I do honestly get annoyed when they have these stunt performers who work really hard and do some very demanding work. They get them to dress in the suits of the original characters from whatever series, but it's not the original actors. And it's just like, if that's the case, don't try to include them. It's a weird ass pet peeve for me. I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. It seems silly. If you can't get them, don't try to insert their character into the special. But I don't do this shit for a living, not yet anyway. Entertainment and such, but I am excited because they got quite a few of the original Mighty Morphin actors and actresses on. It is a very bittersweet thing, though, because any of you Power Ranger fans will know that the legendary Ranger himself, Jason David Frank, is sadly no longer with us. I really, really still can't quite wrap my head around that. It's it honestly kills me, just because I've always been a fan of the character Tommy Oliver in Power Rangers, and this guy, Jason David Frank, I mean, he's just was a certified badass. He did some, put in his time as an MMA fighter for a while in the early 2010s. He, an extremely accomplished martial artist, had black belts in more than a couple of martial arts. Had his own dojos, taught martial arts. I mean, before he was ever the massive draw that he was at conventions and on, anniversary specials and such, he was already very accomplished. And I maintain a very deep regret that I never got to meet him. It was very difficult to meet him at conventions because he was literally the main draw. I mean, this guy brought him in from far and wide. People coming to a convention, like, say, here in Southern California, there is a Power Ranger convention every couple of years called Power Morphicon, and he was always there. Sadly, he will never be there again. I was at the most recent one this past year. My family and I left before he got there, because he's usually the last one. The last person to do, like, the autograph signings and the pictures and things like that. We left, and it's just one of those things where, had I known, I would have told my wife, like, hey, we need to pay the money to get the autographs, take the pictures, meet Jason, because who knows when we're going to get another opportunity. And sadly, there will never be an opportunity, which makes me incredibly sad. I was and still am a fan, and I wish he had chosen to stay with us, but you didn't know it was going to get this deep, did you? But to touch on the positive, exciting stuff, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always on Netflix, April 19th, I believe. April 19th, yes. On Netflix. Very excited. It's my childhood, man. It's my childhood. And, it has other special meaning for me, too. Won't go into that, because that's a whole other story, whole other video, which I did make a video kind of talking about that quite a bit. But moving on. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, the DC vehicle with Zachary Levi playing the title character, just came out in theaters this past weekend. This most recent weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And apparently it was a dud. It did not do well. Didn't do well in theaters, which I'm always very, very, very hesitant to listen to critics and the critical response to certain films, because one, I don't think like a film critic. I think in terms of, was it entertaining? Did I enjoy it? Did I get pleasure from watching this movie? Did I sit through the entirety of the movie and think, I liked that, I want to watch it again, or I look forward to watching it again? That's how I assess a movie. Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen some shit films. There's movies I've wanted to walk out on, but I paid quite a bit for a fucking movie ticket, and so I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna stick around and watch this turd roll down the hill. Not the Garwin. I'm talking too much. Y'all just wanna on YouTube, you wanna just sit here and watch me not say anything while I smoke? I mean, would you stick around for that? I know those listening to podcasts are probably like, I know. I don't think I'd like the quiet. I don't think I'd like the eerie hum of the vent fan just as I sat here Didn't say anything. Didn't speak. Nada. Really hope you guys can hear me. I recorded some voiceover stuff earlier today, which was fun. But I realized I forgot to adjust the audio for this, because I want you guys to hear me, but you know, that's why you adjust stuff in post, right? So Shazam! Fury of the Gods is not getting the best reception, unfortunately, which sucks, because like, I've loved Zachary Levi since he was in Chuck. Y'all remember Chuck on NBC? The guy who gets pulled into the spy business, and he has a computer in his head that, you know, has little flashes, and he can do kung fu, and he can speak different languages, and he knows all the government's dirty secrets. And Zachary Levi is a big nerd. Big nerd, you know? And I was super excited when I saw that he was going to play Shazam. And just because, you know, the character is a kid who is chosen as Earth's champion, or like just a champion of sorts. He's granted these magical powers, and when he says Shazam, he becomes a full-grown adult-looking superhero. I mean, a kid gets to be a superhero. I mean, that's the dream, right? When we're kids, to become a superhero. Billy Batson gets to become a superhero. And Zachary Levi is perfect because he's just a big kid. And so I was excited. I enjoyed the first film, watched it with my son, had a great time. And I was excited when they announced the sequel and all that kind of stuff. And my buddy Brendan Brazier, he's been on this channel, really accomplished dancer, choreographer, has worked in the entertainment industry for years and years and years, worked for Warner Brothers for almost a decade, now works for Disney's feature film department. He posted a very nice review of Shazam. I mean, simply just that he thought it was brilliant. He had a great time. Took his daughter to see it. Really dug it. The reason why I feel like his opinion carries the most weight is because he is a DC expert, and I'm not exaggerating when I say expert. This guy knows his shit. So for him to really appreciate Shazam for what it was and think that it was a great movie, kind of makes me wonder if critics even know what the fuck they're talking about. Most of the time, I don't think they know what the fuck they're talking about. And fans can be the worst. They can honestly be the worst. It's just ridiculous to me, some of the things that, like, yeah, it's like, oh, it was this, it was that. Like, did you have fun? Was it fun to watch? Did you get a kick out of it? Shut the fuck up. But I also know they're being paid to review movies, and they gotta be honest, you know, it's just like when I review cigars. Typically when I review cigars, I'm very accommodating, in that, like, I very rarely smoke a crap cigar. It's a rarity. There are cigars that are really good, like, okay, let me rephrase that. There are cigars that are really great. There are cigars that are pretty good, and there are cigars that are just okay. That is my typical experience when it comes to smoking new cigars, reviewing them, etc. They tend to be in any one of those categories. Really good, or really great, pretty good, and just okay. This cigar, the Mi Querida, it's pretty damn good. I really like this cigar. I haven't had a bad Saka cigar yet, so I don't expect to either. But I feel sometimes film critics are the worst, and fans too. Fans can be the worst. Fans are I feel like they feel like they are the gatekeepers of the franchise or whatever the character is. Like, technically this character never said this or did this, and this character, no, that's not accurate, that's not comic book accurate. Just let people enjoy things. Let people enjoy things and make up their own damn minds about it. That's all I have to say about that. And yeah, it just. But, you know, there's talk about how apparently Dwayne Johnson really screwed things up with trying to get Black Adam made, because Black Adam and Shazam, they are at odds with each other all the time in the comics. And I've seen a bunch of animated movies where they're fighting each other because they essentially have the same kind of powers. Black Adam was the champion. He turned bad, but somehow was still allowed to keep his powers. Whereas Billy Batson, he became the new champion, and so they're kind of like evenly matched, except Black Adam is far more willing to do whatever he feels he needs to do in order to accomplish his goals, and they're never good. Very rarely good. Sometimes he is an anti-hero. Most of the time he's a bad guy. So, apparently Dwayne Johnson did not want to allow Zachary Levi to have a cameo in Black Adam. Didn't want to do anything that where the two movies would be tied together or associated, even though in the comics they're constantly associated with each other because they're basically like different sides of the same coin, that kind of analogy. But Dwayne Johnson, and I will say God bless him for this, he wanted to get Henry Cavill back in the saddle as Superman. I really wish that would have worked out because I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he is the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. And sorry, Brandon Routh, but it's my honest opinion. And that got all just shocked as shit. Didn't go anywhere. But apparently there's, it's coming out that Dwayne Johnson screwed the pooch, and because he just wanted to try and, change the DC hierarchy and kind of run things, and he had his own vision for it, and didn't come to pass. Kind of sucks. Would have liked to have seen the direction of that, but I guess we'll never know. And now Warner Brothers still is attempting to get its shit together, and I don't know if we'll ever see that happen in my lifetime. I don't think we'll ever see that happen. I talk about wanting to be in the entertainment industry, just some way, shape, or form. I want to do voice work. Wouldn't mind being in front of a camera as an actor, even if it was a small bit part. Obviously I like being in front of the camera. I think the camera likes me all right. I do well enough in front of a camera. I haven't had any complaints yet. And I was looking at videos of cigars in film. I mean, obviously a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Groucho Marx obviously always had a cigar in his mouth, George Burns and all that kind of stuff. And then Roger Moore, who arguably was the worst James Bond that there was out of all of them. Forgive me, Sir Roger. I really hope I'm not disrespecting the dead when I'm talking about this, but he was the worst Bond. I'm not the only one who thinks that. He was the worst Bond. I enjoy Roger Moore's work. I enjoy Roger Moore's body of work, but apparently he had a contract. I don't know if it was every film, but one of the Bond films where he would be supplied an endless supply of Monte Cristo number 2s that he could just continuously smoke throughout the production. And I'm just thinking to myself, how the frick does someone negotiate that? I mean, yes, he was a high profile actor. He was very, very popular, and he was, a high paid actor. But it's like, how do you do that? How do you accomplish that? Like Schwarzenegger, I'm not surprised by that at all. Like it's Arnold. I mean, the guy, yeah. People will throw their cigars at him, so that way he'll smoke them, and it's free advertising essentially, and all that good stuff. But it's like thinking about it, it's like that. How badass would you feel if you were acting in a film and you're a high profile enough actor to have it written into your contract that you were provided an endless, continuous supply of cigars? Now, is this one cigar? And Monte Cristo number 2s are pretty good as far as Cuban cigars go. They're one of the few Cuban cigars that I've really enjoyed. But Cuban cigars are hit and miss. I've said that many, many times. But to be able to have that written into your contract still, even if it's just the one cigar that you get to smoke over and over again, I think it's still pretty badass. And that's like bucket list shit. Like, if I'm ever in a film and I have the ability to negotiate, like, at the very least negotiate, like, my character smokes cigars and I get to smoke cigars, you know, without anybody giving me shit about it. I don't know. I think that's the most I'd be able to squeeze out of a contract if I was ever in a film. But to be honest, like, and there'll be times I'll be sitting in here, you know, smoking, thinking about what it'd be like to be in a film and stuff like that. I don't know why. I think it's because it's a character that I wrote in a story or tried to write in a story. An Irish mobster, but he's always smoking cigars. You know, he's a man of honor, but he's also ruthless. And if you cross him in the wrong way, and if you fuck around, you'll find out. I promise you that. I promise you'll find out. That's something I would love. That's a role I would love to play. Will it ever happen? I don't know. It'd be fun just to be like, you know, sitting there and chair behind a desk, you know, people walk in, almost kind of like The Godfather, but not quite as cool. You know, this isn't Don Corleone. This is, you know, Don O'Connor. You know, it's like I've come to speak to Don O'Connor. But it wouldn't be a Don because it's, you know, that's Italian mafia, Irish mob, completely different. It's like, I need a favor from you. Is that right? Well, I can grant the occasional favor, but what's in it for me? What are you going to give me in return? Because I won't do something for nothing. Nothing's free in this world, lad. So tell me, what are you going to give me? What are you going to do for me if I grant you this favor? I don't know, does that work? Could I do that convincingly? I probably have to lose the glasses. Though right now I look really weird and washed the fuck out. You can't see me if you're listening, but if you're watching, oh my god. I gotta put these back on. They're part of my face now. I've been wearing glasses for the last 12 years, and just they're part of me now. And not wearing them, like, even if I took pictures without them, I look weird. I don't look normal. Just like if I were to shave my beard, which I'll never do. I mean, unless it means maybe I can play the Irish mobster. But then again, I got like ginger in my beard. That wouldn't make sense, would it? It would make sense. I got to keep some of the beard, you know, if I want to play it convincingly or look the part. I mean, I got some Irish genes. I can do it. Just give me a chance, man. Just give me a chance. I'll bring it. I'll bring my A game. I promise. All I'm asking is for an opportunity to play the role. If you could do that for me, I promise I'd make it worth your while. Yeah, I don't know if anybody important's listening, but you know, I would love the chance to do it, because I can't pull off Italian mobster. I can't do it. You know, I could sound like, you know, Tony Soprano. I could pull off a James Gandolfini, but I don't look like I'm Italian. I really don't. I can do a decent Don Corleone, but I don't look like Don Corleone. I couldn't pull it off. I just can't. Just doesn't fit. Could probably do Russian mobster, maybe. I don't know. That would be fun. Здравствуйте. I am Ivan Petrovsky, and you have shown me great disrespect. Do you know what I do to men who show me disrespect? I don't know. I guess time will tell. We'll see. But I really think I could do the Irish mobster one. So I have to work on my Irish accent, because sometimes when I'm doing an Irish accent, I trip over my own tongue, and next thing I know, I'm speaking like I'm Scottish. I've never heard of a Scottish mobster, Scottish criminals, Scottish thugs, but never a Scottish mob boss. Those words, you can't string them together. They don't sound good. An Irish mobster, I mean, that just... Everybody's heard of that. So, give me a chance. I sound like I'm in the Boondock Saints right now. In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Anyway, sorry. You think I could do the Irish Mobster part? I would think it would be fun. Let me know in the comments below, and you can feel free to rip me apart or roast me after all of that. But anyways, guys, I think that's it. I think that's really all I have to talk about for this edition of the Dad Smoking Cigars podcast. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever podcasts are available, I really appreciate your support. If you haven't already, I would ask that you please subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast. If you are on Apple Podcasts, I would really appreciate it if you would give this podcast a rating. I know this is only 3 episodes in, and it's going to take, it might take a bit for the podcast to find its voice, but I'm having a good time. And if you are too, please let me know by leaving me a good review, a 5-star review preferably, if you are enjoying the podcast that much. I'd really appreciate it, and it would mean a lot to me, and I'll be your best friend. So, but seriously, I really love and appreciate all of you guys and your support. So, thank you. Other than that, that's all for this edition of the Dad Smoking Cigars podcast. Thank you guys so much. Please take care of yourselves, hoping that you're safe and healthy, keeping it smoky, and as always, I will catch you in the next one. Now get out of here before I change my mind. About what? I don't know. But anyways. Bye, guys.